never know what to say in those situations. I'm so awkward sometimes, but I try to keep it light, try to keep it fun. I'm not socially. I'm not. I'm no expert on how to interact with people. I'm getting better. That's like,
Dude, I'm the same. I'm the same way. Like there would be situations. I think I was at the library the other day, and I told this joke to the guy sitting behind the counter, and it just like he didn't get it, and that might be the age difference because I think he's like 18, 19, 20, and I told a joke, around our age, and he's like, huh? And so there are times in situations where I can be kind of awkward, but
you I feel like you make an active effort to like go and talk to people, and that's like your personality. I don't have that gene. I'd probably, if I wasn't a musician, I would probably only have conversations like this, which I'm way more comfortable in, like a one-on-one with the, good friend or small group of people that I've known forever. We plenty to talk about always. I always have probably too much to say. People have a tough time shutting me up, but you put me in a situation like out at a bar or something like that, especially if I'm a musician, at least I have something to talk about. But right. If I'm just at a social event, like I just like do not feel comfortable. I immediately am looking at the door, like how can I get out of here? And I don't know what that is. You read the thing like, oh, I'm introverted and oh, I'm extroverted and all that. So obviously I think I would be on the introverted side of things. I don't have that like go out and talk to everybody, and I don't know. I wish I had that.
Right. It's kind of similar to, you ever get invited to graduation parties, and I always feel no matter whose graduation party I go to, it is just always weird because there's a lot of people that you don't typically. In my experience, there's people that I don't know, and I'm like, man, do I want to really socialize today, or do I just want to meet, greet, say, hey, I made it to your graduation party, give them the card, and then leave. Typically, that's my mindset going in. Is like if I get invited to a graduation party.
Who's graduating? That you're talking about when you're younger, or when are you going to graduation?
That's a good question. So when I was coaching athletes, I'd get invited to graduation parties, and no disrespect to any of the athletes that I coach, it was just I'm very shy. There's a shy side to me. So when I went to the graduation parties, I'm like, okay, can I find Joe Schmo, give him his card, say hey to his parents, stay for 5 or 10 minutes, and then leave? Just because it was that was an awkward situation for me because I a lot of people I don't know. So similar to you, how you said, if there wasn't any music to talk about, you'd be like kind of in this space where it's one-on-one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been in many situations that are awkward.
But I don't know. It seems like you have that gear, though. I don't know that I have that gear even. Like, I can really, really force myself, but usually, like, I'll do the exact thing you're saying. I'm very, like, I have a goal. I'm going to go to this party. I'm going to drop off this thing. I'm going to say hey to 3 people. Then I'm going to get out of there. There'd be nothing that would stop me from doing that. As soon as I make that decision, there would be no side conversations. There would be like, if somebody tried to talk to me, I'd be looking at the door, like I said, trying to get out of there. I wish I was better at but I don't know if that's just a lot of times my mentality. I have this like weird hyper-focused mind where if I set a goal like that to get in and out, that's what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. And that's not like, I don't think that's how people normally are. I feel like, they just kind of roll with it.
I don't know. I'm sure there are probably a lot more people that kind of have that anxiousness, but they just don't speak about it, so we probably don't know about it.
Yeah, but, I know a lot of people do have that, but I don't know. It's weird being a musician and having it because it's like part of there's like I don't want to say political, but there is a little bit of like you're putting out something. You're putting out you're playing the music, which that part can do just fine. I can go. Sometimes I do a thing where I won't take a break at a show because there's a lot of people there, and I feel like I'm gonna have to talk to people, and I don't know how I'm gonna do with it. So I'll just stay on stage for 3 hours straight. I did that the other night, Friday night at a show at Golden Fox Brewing in Decatur, and I played for 3.5 hours without taking a break, just straight through. And a lot of the songs I did were medleys, so it was like I'd start one and I'd do 4 to 10 songs like in a row right after it. and I don't even give the crowd time to react. So I don't know. There's something weird in my brain where it's like, I don't know if that's a good thing. I feel like people like it when you go out and talk to them and like have like a, even if it's just those generic questions. I get a little burnt out of the generic kind of small talk stuff pretty quick, and I'm better at it than I used to be, because I used to just not even acknowledge that was even an option, and people would talk to me and I'd just be like a deer in the headlights most of the time. And then I always do the thing where I'll be like, oh, what was your name? And they tell me, and forgot. They said it 2 seconds ago. And and as somebody who's a musician trying to book themselves at shows all the time, is like, that'd be a good skill to have, would be to be able to remember somebody's name. Because you talk to like a promoter or something like that, and the next time you see them, if you're like, oh, hey Dave, you go up and you talk to them, and you have a little rapport, you have a better chance of maybe being invited to maybe an event they're putting on, to perform or something. But I don't know.
There's just so much nowadays, in especially post pandemic, or
wherever
if you want to, but I think there's just so much pressure on everybody, whether you're introvert, extrovert, ambivert.
I definitely noticed that right after, like maybe in the middle, like after the shutdown, but then maybe a few months after that, there was a couple times I'd go hang out with some friends, and it seemed like there were so many lulls in the conversation. Like people forgot how to talk to each other. And it seemed like it was everywhere. It wasn't just like I'm bad to begin with, but it seemed like the people that are usually like solid at it kind of lost a little bit of that, because you're so isolated. It's such a weird.
One of my friends he's a teacher, and he teaches K through 5th grade. And he's just kind of described this evolution of actually seeing the kids pre-COVID to where now a lot of the kids went online, and so they're in front of computer screens for, we'll just say, 4 to 6 hours a day. And then now that kids are back in school, he said that he almost gets more of a respond and more focus when there is a screen involved into like their activities that they're doing. He's like, man, this is kind of crazy to see that I was teaching before and there wasn't much technology, and now kids are almost paying attention more with the technology versus not having it, which is kind of like, I think as a whole, not even just grade school, but even adults, you see it more to where people now don't want to go out. Or I shouldn't say all people, but there's a lot of people that would rather just stay home now, because we've been in this for 2 years, and it's like, now I actually have that pressure of having to go out and actually socialize with people. So to hit back on your point of like having this pressure of being at shows and wanting to talk to people, or having the need or feel like you need to talk to people, on the flip side of that, there are people that are just staying at home because they don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And again, that's not everybody. I'm sure there's still a lot of people that are going out and doing what they do, but I think that's one of the biggest things with this pandemic is it has changed from what I've seen how a lot of people communicate now. And I'm an in-person type of guy. Some people will text me, and it's almost like a chore sometimes to text, especially if there's a full blown out conversation. Like, I'd much rather be in person.
I don't ever do the full conversation.
It's hard,
sometimes it's Big D, because that's the only way I can talk to him. But I don't know. I mean, but still, I would catch him on the phone. We'd talk for an hour and a half, which I've been told by, Steve Holcomb.
Yeah.
He was telling me one time that, like, when I call, he gets a little bit, he doesn't always answer, and he gets, like, a little bit of anxiety because he knows it's going to be, like, a 30-minute to hour-long conversation. So it's like, that's a lot to ask of somebody. Not that I do it intentionally or, like, that I'm aware of it, but that's just, I'd much rather talk on the phone than just do texting. But a lot of people, especially nowadays, I think will lean on the text part of thing, because it's not as much of an undertaking to have like even just a phone call, which is still not in person, which I still feel like I do prefer even that.
Right. But I think it's just tough on everybody.